How does somebody that comes from nothing, me and this amazing lady, $500 million. We are generational free, guys. I was a waiter. There's 5 fundamentals that can change your life.
If there's ever a success story that's out there, this is one.
Bobby Castro is the ultimate rags to riches story. With only a 9th grade education, Bobby founded Bankers Healthcare Group and turned a $25,000 investment into
upwards of $1 billion.
He started with a little, grew it to a lot.
He's a recipient of the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
Having achieved financial freedom on his own terms, he wants to teach others how to achieve unprecedented results.
So my mission today, because one thing you're going to find out in the next hour about me, I could be too much for most. But I can assure you, I do no drugs. I can assure you of one thing, I do life. I come from a family that has a lot of stories, a lot of chaos, a lot of passion. See, I'm going to give you some stats. It's so important. I'm going to try to really speak without getting crazy. I can't promise you that because I know some of you, you're using the translator. So I want to be very mindful because my time, this shirt you see, it's trademarked, not for a business. It changed my life. Non-refundable minutes. I never get them back. So I used to spend them, burn them, give them away until I realized the power of investing my time. I'm so critical of my time because it's an asset, the most precious asset. Think about it. You can get divorced today and do it again and marry somebody tomorrow. You can have a friend 5 years ago, 5 years forward, you have a new friend. You get to do it again. With time, you cannot do that. You can never get it back. I'm going to give you some stats before I get a little bit into my story, and then more so how I was able to create what me and my incredible wife, who's sitting right here today, of 35 years I've been married. We have 2 children, a 34-year-old daughter who's been married 11 years to her awesome husband, Eddie, and they have 2 children, our grandbabies. Ocean, who's 8 years old, Oakley, who's 6, and then we have a son as well, who's 28 years old. He's married to an amazing individual, Jen, and they're having our 3rd grandchild, a baby girl, coming up next year, March. That's my legacy. Sophie and I, we met right here in Hialeah. If you're from Florida, right in Hialeah. So check this out. You're looking at somebody, I've never raised money. And anything I'm about to tell you, and these are factual facts. I'm no celebrity, I'm no athlete, I'm no trust fund baby, nothing was given to me. I come from a generational pattern, and my dad's Puerto Rican, he's no longer around, and my mom's Jewish and Irish. So I'm half Latino and half Jewish and Irish. I'm like an iguana. You know what an iguana is? That's me. And my wife is Cuban. So me and this amazing individual, Sophia, it's incredible. Today we sit on $500 million. We have no debt. We have a real estate portfolio that we've been investing for nearly 24 years, 25 years when we had nothing, guys. Today, after years of compounding, 2,500 units, multifamily, that gives me and my incredible wife $600,000 every single month. No tax implications. That's just one stream of income. We manage 9 figures, ourselves and our family office, and then we have another organization that manages 9 figures for us. What we're trying to do is break the curse in our families, generational patterns. I grew up seeing chaos seeing my family, my mother waiting on tables and just struggling. No lights, fleas, roaches. We lived on Section 8, no furniture. Our furniture was rent-a-center. Means my mom had to rent a coffee table, a bed, they would pick it up, re-deliver it. It was a constant battle. But that was custom for us, just like it was for their previous generation. It's called generational patterns. This is just how it goes. I knew that wasn't right. I left school at the 9th grade. That was junior high back then. 9th grade is when you're around 14 years old. I waited on tables when I started a business that I sold for $1 billion. And I'm gonna get to that, the power of that. I was right here at Key Biscayne, Rusty Pelican. Who knows that restaurant? I was a waiter there. And then I got a second job. I sold memberships for the Better Business Bureau. I come from nothing, guys, nothing. My father had 15 children. He lived on Section 8. Every time he had a kid, he got another voucher. True story. That was just the way it was. He meets my mother. She was 27. My father was 50. I don't even know what she was thinking at that time. Because generational patterns, she wasn't thinking. So Sophie and I have been on a crusade for, out of the 35 years we've been married, Bobby Castro, and there's a book, Upsiders. You can get bilingual, it's audio, it's free. You can go to my Instagram, click on the Spanish audio, English audio, or the book. And I go through a lot of my story in the book, How to Upside Your Life. I meet Sophie on Lejeune Road in Hialeah. I was working in a call center at night. I was a train wreck. I was just like my father, I was like my brothers, just like the previous generation, all over the place. I was a liar, I was a procrastinator, I was an excuser. I did it all. I know what it is to lie, because when you start lying to yourself, you're the biggest liar. And I know it. So I meet this incredible individual. And then she says, yes, a date. They warned Sophie, stay away from him. And they were right. They were 100% right. The person you see today is not the person of yesterday, last month, or 35 years ago. They were absolutely right to tell Sophie, stay away from that dude. He's a bad person. And I tell you that because we're going to talk about how powerful change is if you're intentional. So I meet this lovely lady, Sophia. And sure enough, man, they were right. I was all over the place. I was a horrible boyfriend. And guess what happens? We're in the Keys. We get pregnant right away. Right away. Sophie was only 18 years old. We get pregnant. I have no job. I'm a big flash dancer. I talk about it in my book, The Big Shot. This, that, macho camacho, and all this crap. Doing nothing. Fast forward a little bit, I'm living at her parents' house for free. I have no car, I have no job, I have no money, but I'm a big shot. You ever know those guys? Okay, maybe that's you, but maybe in a different style or a different form. Because I had an ego back then, and an ego, I found out, is not your amigo. It's your worst enemy. So I'm living at their house, thinking nothing's wrong. This is how it's done. This is how my family did it. We just use people. We go around and we just playing the game, taking life for granted. Because this is how my family did it. I'm just repeating the patterns. One day, I go outside on a weekday, guys. A weekday. A weekday, you're supposed to be at work. I go outside, a black Mustang pulls up, and it was given to us by her parents, Pedro and Dixie, from Cuba, hard-working Latinos. And I'm living at their house. Pulls up, and I'm walking out in the afternoon, and the Mustang was so beat up that you know the reverse fumes, that the gasoline's coming out, there's no AC, but the gas just killing you. Sophie pulls up, she's so pink, because it's so hot outside, and then behind her is a little baby, my daughter, Priscilla. Same thing, pink, and it was so hot, and they're both smiling at me. At that time, my life has changed. I felt this small. I realized I am doing the same thing as my family has and their previous family. I was repeating the patterns over and over. That's why they were all broke. That's why they had the mindset they had. That's why they had the excuse. They were pity me victims. Only the rich get richer. I said right there, enough. That day, I decided to get not only one job, 2 jobs. I went to the Rusty Pelican, got my friggin' body a job like I should have had and take care of my family, waiting on tables, because I used to wait on tables because that's where we come from, our family. My mom was a waitress all her life. And then I said, I'm gonna get a second job. I am gonna consume my time selling membership to the Better Business Bureau. Fast forward, and you'll get a little bit into the book if you choose to go into the book. I meet someone. Somebody I sold a membership to during the day because I was waiting tables at night. I was so hungry for life, guys. I was ready for change in my life. This older man says, hey, I'll buy this membership. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. I think it's a scam. Under one condition, you come work for me. That was an opportunity. So I just got God in my life about 18 months ago. And I'm not here to talk about God, but I'm here to recognize and honor God. Amazing. He put these messages in front of me for me to recognize it. And how I recognize opportunities, I started getting less distracted and more mindful. Fast forward, skipping over a lot of history and a lot of story, and again, go to the book. He tells me, I will give you my Rolodex of my relationships, because he was leaving, he was retiring. He had 2 older sons, they're in their 50s. One was hooked on pills, the other one was hooked on something else, of narcotics. I used to drive him home, and then Sophie would pick me up at Las Olas Boulevard, where we live now. He tells me, Bobby, I'm gonna be retired, I'm gonna be no longer doing this, because it was in the financial service space, equipment lease and finance. He goes, but you're a good kid. I know you wanna really make something of yourself. Here's the Rolodex. You tell them I gave it to you. And when I reached for it, guys, he took it back. You're gonna pay me for it. He wanted $1,700, not because he needed it. Looking back, he was trying to teach me a lesson. He was a nice man. I didn't have $1,700. I just started getting my life back. I go home in Hialeah, living at her parents' house, and I'm telling Sophie this story. Dixie, my mother-in-law, doesn't speak English. My Spanish is horrible, but she's rooting for me. I burned every bridge. Remember, before that, you burn bridges when you're a liar. You take advantage of people. And I'm telling Sophie, but he wants $1,700. Back in the day, these amazing ladies, they have the bra, the beeper, 100 keys to 100 doors, the little phone book, everything in the bra. And she tells me in Spanish, here. And they had all the cash the family had, close to $1,700, like $1,500 and change. She tells me in Spanish, here. I looked at her, and instead of me grabbing it, guys, I was scared of taking it. I was really scared of taking it because these people are good people. I want to do right by them. I'm starting to feel good about who I am. So I accept the money. Me and my amazing wife, working from her parents' house, this business. And I kept waiting on tables, working on this business. Fast forward, we didn't only sell that business for $1 billion. Before we sold it for $1 billion, we sold it for $250 million for 30%, all cash. And then I said, wow, man, how does this work? Why would they pay so much? Well, idiot, I gave it away. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't treating my business like I should be treating. I wasn't growing it or scaling it. I said, okay, this is how it's done now. A year later, we sold it for $600 million at 19%, all cash. 19% more cash. A few years later, we then did the third slice, final slice for $1 billion. And it sounds great, guys, but before that happened, Sophie and I didn't understand how to compound money. And there was a stat that I got fixated, and I'm asking you to get fixated on it. 1 penny, one penny a day. And I'm talking about a penny that you will walk over, you won't even pick it up. A homeless person will throw it back at you. 1 penny a day, compounded every day for 30 days only, comes out to over $5 million. So I started scratching my head when I'm building this business. I'm saying, man, that's just wild. And then I started connecting the dots, and I said, what if my effort, what if I could compound a better Bobby in me? And family was the biggest battle for me. I took too long spending time with my family. When I say family, not my, and you gotta remember, this is years back, I come from a generational pattern of very tough personalities. Sophie, Cubans, they're stubborn. It's my way. Everyone, the Latinos are very strong and very powerful and very stubborn at times. Well, think about that. I was dealing with that at my house, and then my mother, same thing. And I spent so much time trying to have my family, when I started feeling good, to come with me. No, you're a dreamer. Bobby, give it up, give it up, give it up. Even today, guys, me and this amazing lady, $500 million. We are generational free, guys. I was a waiter. Every time I speak at events, you know what? I'm very mindful. Call me superstitious or call me somebody that cares for somebody else. I used to work at hotels like this. You see these beautiful people that set up all these tables, giving you water, your food later on? That was my mother and that was me. Every event I go to, I make sure I reach out and I look at one of them and I say, listen to me when I talk, because I'm rooting for them. Because if I did it, they can do it. How does somebody that comes from nothing, I never raised money, never. I didn't know anybody. I was just so focused. If you go to my website, bobbycastro.com, there's 5 fundamentals that can change your life. I come from chaos, so it's a lot of complication. You can never finish a conversation with my family without an argument. I started looking at the positives of all the issues. PMA is positive mental attitude all day, every day. I'm obsessed with it. Why? Any struggle each and every one of you are going through, any crisis, any event you're going through, I can assure you there's a solution. Focus on the solution, Bobby. Focus on the solution. You cannot change or control the past.